I wrote a poem on the 30th of June 2025 at 10:05 a.m. while sitting on my lounge and being the deep thinker that I am. And I'd like to read it to you, which sort of encapsulates my thoughts in this little tidbit video that I don't even have any dot points on with my dusty mic that I haven't cleaned in a while, because I feel like I'm always leaving my creative projects at the very end or not doing them at all because I struggle to just do them of the fear of not being perfect. Perfectionism really does kill creativity, guys. But in other reasons, I just wanted to discuss this. The poem says, I can't stomach these muddy waters. I oscillate between heavy breathing and lightness in my throat. I fear I live a double life, one foot here and the other in fear. And although it's not a monumental poem, I think that it's a great way to start off these thoughts that I've had. And even just sitting here on a Monday morning as someone who has a full-time job, I am in constant battle with myself because I am someone who, like many people, want to resist the systems that people have placed on society that are inevitably what keeps people and capitalism and organizations going, and these businesses that people have built for themselves. You know, all of these systems have been created, but in other ways it helps that I have a sense of stability in all of that, but the inner resistance with me is in screaming for freedom. And by freedom, I mean wanting to just lay on the grass and not think about the next email that I have to write. To lay on the grass and not have this sense of urgency in everything that I need to do. Even if that sense of urgency is just scrolling through my phone as if something is about to happen. And there's so much content and so much information that's being fed to us every single day about what's going on in the world, about the ideologies that we have to live up to based off of unrealistic social media and societal expectations. There's so much that we have to live and uphold. And I think that a lot of the time as society, one thing that we have to realize is that being is the highest form of human existence. Putting love as a focal point in our lives, which means being slow in the way that we speak, being intentional about the way that we do things, putting others first outside of what we think, our actions might have an impact on our identity that is so fleeting. And I've had this battle for a while, and my therapist actually spoke to me, and she said, beyond all of this I have had this personal stress happen in my life, and it's been the focal point of my survival essentially. And although I don't want to really relay that into the world, this focal point of stress in my life has been since I was 15, and it's been built up as a trauma response within me to not feel like I can have a stable ground within myself and within my own environment, which ultimately impacts the way that I function in the world. And so she asked me, she goes, beyond this focal point of stress in your life that you have been ruminating on What do you want? And to this day, I don't have that answer. And when people ask themselves what they want, people don't have to have a set answer, but it is important to reflect on that. And usually the answer that you have for yourself is a big reflection on what you're currently doing in your life right now, or what you're not doing in your life right now to work towards that goal. And, you know, some people want a house by 25. Some people want, you know, 5 friends and at 30. Some people want the love of their life to come by. And I sat there and I had everything that I wanted and I needed within my system. And after some time of clawing my way out to survive, to live, to be stuck in this mindset of this is all that you need to work towards. When I was asked the question, what else? Oh, what else do you want for yourself? It's almost as if my body did not allow that reality to be true, that I can want more. I can want more than what's on paper, beyond everything that I have at this very moment, and it does not have to stop there. I am just rambling, but these are just thoughts that have come up for me very recently. And I think that there are days where I really deeply reflect how much contradiction there is within society. We all want to have this peaceful life. We all want to be happy. We all want love. We all want joy. Yet we look so externally. We look outside of ourselves instead of doing practices that slow ourselves down. We limit ourselves from experiencing love out of the fear that love may destroy us, even though that is pretty much the epitome of love. And one video that I saw, yes, on TikTok, because I still consume TikTok despite all of this deep thinking. This creator that usually reads books, she mentioned that vulnerability and true intimacy requires friction. And oftentimes the lives that we have on our phone, on technology, which is something that is easily accessible to us, and our need for that dopamine hit and our need for those, you know, chemical hits that we have every single day. It's so easily accessible to us, but it's so curated that anything that happens outside of that, which is a part of one's normal human experience, is said to be wrong, or is said to be cancelled, is said to be, you know, not normal. When in fact, there is such a point that we can only be truly vulnerable if we slow our brains down, if we can read a book without the expectation that we share that book with anyone else but ourselves, without the expectation that we reach the goal of reading however many books that you've, you know, decided to read for the year, without the expectation of performance. And although us as people in the society that we are in, we often have to perform to be able to survive. And that is where a lot of my inner resistance comes in at the moment, where I am frustrated about, I suppose, the world and the situation that the world is in at the moment. I am also fearful that every single day no one is going to wake up to this fact. And also at the same time, I'm hopeful for these good experiences. And I said this in therapy too, but I feel like I am dipping in and out of experiences without being fully there. And that is a testament to the doom scrolling, the quick dopamine hits, the lack of critical thinking, the lack of full engagement and flow towards things that makes our brains wired to be able to engage in things for longer than, 9 seconds. Our brains are essentially fried. My brain is fried. And I am in fear of that. And every day I resist it. But every day I also give in to it. So there's no resolution to this video except for the fact that these are my thoughts, and that for a while now I've been sitting on this idea that we are all a walking contradiction because of the reality that we've been given, because of the world that we're living in, and because of the developments that are coming in our lives that we can't really control. The only thing that we can control is how we perceive these and how we choose to move forward, which is such an individual thing. And often it's not as easy to say, do this and do that, because sometimes it's not possible to do so because we need to survive. Sometimes we need to perform. And yeah, that's my 2 cents. Happy Monday. I should do this more often. And subscribe, but this is not usually the content that I create. But I guess it is now.